Hey guys, Trevor Holt here. Happy New Year. We've made it through 2025. We're here in 2026 on the 1st of January. Beautiful day. We've had a bit of rain last night and things are looking positive for 2026. So just a reminder, we're just trying to acknowledge that getting outdoors, getting your blood circulating, your heart beating, getting your joints moving helps create better overall outcomes in your well-being and health. So every week at least I come out to these places. There's a lot of places in southeast Queensland that are free for the public to come and enjoy and spend a bit of time with nature and stretch your legs and get your blood flowing. So I encourage everyone in 2026 to try and find a way to fit in some exercise and outdoors into their life. So 2025 was a big year for me. It was quite unplanned. A lot of things that have happened weren't really on my radar of things to achieve, but I managed to get through all my learning outcomes and my goals in regards to my diploma, Bachelor of Psychological Science. I've got one test I've got to do, one closed book test I've got to do. I think it's will be in February sometime, so I've got to do a bit of study for that, and then I finish that course. So that was a pretty big goal. So since I think I started in 2019, 2020, my Cert 4 in mental health, I completed my diploma, which took about, the mental health took about 2 years. I completed my diploma of counselling, which took about 2 years as well, and now my Bachelor of Psychology has taken about 2 years. So it's been a bit over 6 years of study to get where I am now. So I think 2026 for me, guys, I'm going to look at trying to get into an honours year somewhere. I've applied for one at University of Southern Queensland, so hopefully that might pay off for me. But I've sort of been drawn into this social advocacy scenario now. I want to try and explore that a little bit further. I feel that Australian advocacy group and social advocacy is something that fits into where I want to go as a career on this. So it's been quite enlightening this year. So I was going through the campaign last night, or you know, throughout the week leading up to the new year, trying to see where we're at. Interestingly, I've got my tracks now, escalator tracks, 1.5 tonne escalator tracks. I've got to put my fire ant machine on, so I'm going to try and set it up so it can be self-propelled, which is the next stage in the project for my fire ant machine. So that's exciting. The tracks have been built now. So it's just a matter now, I've got to try and sort out a gearbox, a splitter gearbox to alternate between running the high pressure or the water pump and the hydraulic drive to drive them tracks. So that's some exciting news coming and endeavours of 2026. So hopefully getting that sorted out as soon as possible. I also want to try and put an excavator arm on the machine, a hydraulic excavator arm, to do soil temp tests and being able to dig up fire ant nests or whatever for scientific research. So obviously soil testing and that sort of stuff will help with statistics of and the scientific research that we're going to hopefully engage in. So there's big news there on that fire ant machine. So that more will come out to that as that progresses. It turns out so far it's been about a $42,000 investment we spent on that machine over the last 12 months. So that's quite substantial cost that we've incurred. A lot of contributions have come in through Australian Advocacy Group to assist with that, and a lot of money's come in from actually treating fire ants for property owners that don't want to use toxic chemicals. So that's helped fund it. But also recently, the Empower Organic program has been getting a fair bit of interest, and people are signing up their properties and learning how to manage their properties organically, and being certified to do it under AS 6000. So that's been another avenue of funding coming in. So in addition, we've done our pilot, our launch episode of the Australian Advocate. We registered that as a business name. We got Rob Mellett doing some investigative work and some articles. We've got a few partners publishing some works in that paper as well. So hopefully we can find some advertising and some other people to help contribute to keep that on the road. The January edition should be out by the 9th of January, so that should be good, and that will be our second one. So it's looking fairly positive at the moment. I'm pretty happy with our second one, and we're going to do a brief probably this week to get out the February edition. So we're going to commit to that one as well, while we try to establish sustainability in that publication. So guys, if you have any businesses or anything that you want to get some advertising in or whatever in that publication to support it, let me know, and we can certainly look at that. Alternatively also too, if you've got a campaign that you want to raise awareness in, we're happy to help out small campaigns and put it all together. That's the main thing, and hopefully there could be some contributions for doing that on the small campaign level to help fund the admin, publication and journalist costs associated with that publication. So it's interesting looking back through 2025. Since 2020, the first thing I learned in mental health was you can't help other people until you help yourself. And one of the stories that helps reminding me about that is if you're flying at 30,000 feet on an aeroplane and you hit turbulence and the oxygen mask drops down, you've got to put oxygen on yourself before you can help other people. So what that basically means is you've got to be the best version of yourself. It's been a very stressful fire ant campaign for me personally. We've lost 5 animals. One senior cow very dear to us, Molly, which is very, very sad and continues to be a big factor in our herd at the moment. The dynamics of everything has changed without her there. She was the one that we done all our mental health work with, and people used to lie down with her and that. So that was a massive loss to our organisation. We got Quanay separated, and we've been taking her on more halter training things at the moment, but it's a big void to fill, Molly. But we also lost 4 calves. 2 were born and euthanized at about 6 weeks, and 2 were stillborn, correlating with the fire ant baits. So it's quite been quite stressful, I suppose, in that regard. And perfectly natural coping mechanism of stress in human nature is comfort food. It's so available in this modern age. Soft drink, McDonald's, or fast food just in general. And one of the things I have been doing since 2020, before 2020 I was nearly 150 kgs. So I worked really, really hard over from about 2019, mid 2019 or whatever, to lose, and I lost, my lowest weight was about 84 kgs, 83 kgs, and I sort of, when I started exercising more, I sort of balanced out around the 92 kgs, so, and that's when I was doing elite athlete stuff, box jumping and that sort of stuff. I done my world record attempt where I done 800 box jumps at in an hour, 600 high, to attempt to break the world record, which was 80% of the world record. The world record was about 1,006, I think, and I'd done about 800 as a 44-year-old. So that was pretty amazing, and I was about 92 kgs there. I felt probably a couple of kgs heavy, but ultimately, the stress, I suppose, the relentlessness, the fact that the government departments who were there to help us, who were there to assist us, who were there to support us, are lying to us, bullying us, and causing us pain. So that had a pretty big impact on me, and because I suppose as a bit of an empathetic person, and I can see a lot of the trauma that the program was causing other people as well, not just me, and trying to help all these other people as well, did have a negative impact on my overall health and well-being. As I said, comfort food is a coping mechanism and a weakness of mine over the years. And when I was doing well, I didn't drink any soft drink. I didn't eat any bread. I didn't drink any dairy products. I had like black coffee. You know, little things like when you fill up your car, you didn't buy any chocolate or whatever with fuel or whatever, but since April anyway, April and probably even before April, but it certainly got worse after April. And then with, you know, after the arrest and everything and going through court, then it certainly did get worse, and you start drinking soft drink and you start eating bread, and then you start having cappuccinos and that, and before long you're sort of back in the bad habits. So the best way, and that's where I was at, guys, but that's not who I am. I don't give up that easy, and I keep trying. So today's day 5 of a water fast. So water fasts are a great tool that I use, and I have used in the past to manage some of my emotions and even some of my weight control. And it's something that I've managed to learn and to work with over many years. So I don't recommend anyone doing it without, you know, first, you know, getting medical advice and all the rest of it. But I have a lot of vitamins and minerals and that in addition to the water. So it's not just water, Himalayan salt and a few things like that sort of help, but basically you got no energy at all in intake, you know, so you got no food intake at all, anything that's going to give you some calories or whatever. So today's day 5, and I'm feeling pretty good. It's going all right, but 2026 for me is going to be about maintaining my diet, maintaining my exercise, and trying to manage stress in a more positive fashion. Obviously, the National Fire Ant Eradication Program continues with their and the decision makers of power that enable it continue to make false and misleading claims about the effectiveness and the safeness of these chemicals that they use, and about their need to do it. So we still got probably a fair bit of work to do in that space, and trying to gear up, I suppose, for a long-term campaign to initiate change, because these guys aren't going to give up that easy. So, but anyway, I feel that with their organic empowerment program, the work that I'm doing on these alternative treatments, and the work I'm doing in the organic field, I feel is giving us a lot of, I suppose, credibility and a lot of tools available for us to combat these draconian, heavy-handed, extortionist approaches at the National Fire Ant Eradication Program. By not acknowledging alternatives to their specific chemical offerings is that's extortion, really, and people should be able to manage their property in any way that they can. No one wants fire ants. Fire ant eradication on individual properties is possible, can be managed without chemicals, and I suppose that's the message I'm going to get out there. So whilst eradication in the southeast Queensland distribution of fire ants completely is unrealistic and unfeasible, it is possible to manage areas to be fire ant free, and I suppose that's the message that we are going to do that moving forward. So, but yeah, so hopefully, guys, you've sat back and had a reflection on your 2025 and looked at improvement opportunities moving forward through 2026. And I haven't really thought about, my goals, haven't documented them too much, but I suppose just continuing with Australian Advocacy Group, continuing with the Empower Organic program, trying to continue with the publication and sort that out, continue improvement on this fire ant machine and chemical alternative, working with universities and people to try and establish recognition of these technologies, and pushing for mechanisms of change moving forward. I feel Queensland not having a Senate is probably a big factor to a lot of what's going on at the moment. So we're the only state that doesn't have that approach. So looking at ways to putting pressure on to try and re-establish that would be good, I suppose. But and understanding, I suppose, the law and understanding the process of law. For some reason, as individuals now, we've got to start understanding all these things of what we can do, and it's not about what's lawful or what's unlawful. It's just how we can protect our rights from being eroded by government departments that are acting unlawfully, and that's not an opinion, that's a fact. Moving forward, so I do believe there's a lot of merit in exploring these avenues, trying to build up a network of people, and hopefully we can get some pushback and try and get less government and more freedoms moving forward, because that's what's documented in the LNP's values, but they're not governing at the moment. The state government aren't governing at the moment to their documented values, so trying to force that. So with all this stress associated with the fire ant program, I know there's a lot of angst and stress also associated in the net zero policy. I've seen a lot of farmers have been infringing their human rights down south as well with these power grids. I know Victoria have set some draconian laws up as well, and there's battles going on there. Even farmers in our own area here, with compliance costs rather than self-assessed scenarios that don't cost money. They want you to pay government departments to come and say it's okay to do things, the transport industry. We've seen another collapse, 150 jobs of a small trucking company lost. There was 300 jobs lost last week, I feel. So there's a lot of problems in the private sector at the moment, and it's all based on government intervention. So trying to get that balance right between governance and private business, I suppose, is something that we're looking at, trying to get better outcomes on moving forward. So there's a few things, I suppose, to manage our emotions around that. So we've got to be optimistic, guys. We've got to be optimistic about the future. We've got to be positive that we can create better outcomes for our children and for the next generations. And we've got to not be naive into thinking that our generation doesn't have to fight for our freedoms. Previous generations, probably every generation before us, has had to fight for freedoms. So I think just having that realization that, you know, we're not immune from these things, and we have to do our share to put human rights first as well. So that's one thing. So trying to be positive about that, and not take it as a burden, but as a responsibility to stand up and speak out when you think something is not fair or unjust. So that's my first message, and we've got to try and have a positive approach to that. And it's very difficult, I suppose, because, you know, they're the ones taking our human rights off us. So it's easy for them to label us, you know, anti-government, sovereign citizen, tinfoil hatters, anti-vaxxers, all these derogatory type terms that they use to try and dehumanise us, I suppose, is what the goal is. So trying to push back from that with dignity and grace, trying to call these guys out wherever we can, and enjoy the process. But it is difficult, so we often have to fight the enemies of optimism, which is the 3 P's of pessimism, which is personal, pervasive. Well, we probably go pervasiveness first, personal, and permanent. I suppose they're the 3 things. So pervasive means affecting every element of your life. Pervasive, so everything. Permanent means forever. So things change. These guys aren't going to do. Things change all the time. So nothing's permanent in this world. Power changes, government changes, and things do progress. The sun will come up in the morning. So there's nothing permanent in this world. So it's not going to be like this forever. And personal, generally making it all about you. Generally, it's not all about you. It's, you know, so fighting the 3 P's of pessimism is important. And one way I remember it is the old saying, everything's shit, it's always going to be shit, and it's all my fault. So that's examples of everything's shit. So how do we combat that? So we look around ourselves and we find things that aren't shit, you know, like this nature's beautiful. You know, I can hear all the bugs in the background, the birds and everything. It's a beautiful day. There's flowers about, different trees. Nature's an amazing thing. So you just got to find things that aren't, that break that narrative that thinks everything's shit. You know, it's all going to shit, everything's bad and all the rest of it. So just try and find that little bit of good. Turn towards your friends, turn towards your partners, turn towards your work colleagues, turn towards your boss. You know, just try and find some positive elements there in your life, so you can identify that everything is not shit. You know, like, and that can help. And it's always going to be shit. That's permanent. So just understand that things do change, you know, and you can break the cycle. So get up in the morning and go for a walk, or try and break some habits if you think it that way, and get some circuit breakers in that. Do some meditation, or go to some social groups, or and that sort of stuff, just to take that permanent thing out of it, because things do change, and sometimes it's a mindset shift to think about that. And the third one is, it's personal. It's all my fault. These things happen regardless. It's got nothing personal to do with you. Take the personality out of it. Take the person out of it, and just look at the situation to identify ways of initiating change. So that's what I want to try and focus on, guys. Fighting the 3 P's, the enemies of optimism, the 3 P's of pessimism, and try and have a positive outlook for 2026. And the other thing I just want to quickly mention is circle of influence. Focus on the things that you can do, you can change. You can change your diet, you can change your exercise regime, you can change your mindset on things. You can write letters. The thoughts of or actions of others have got nothing to do with you. You can't change them. You can't make them change their ways. So focus on circle of influence. Change your own behaviour, change your own thoughts, change your actions. You can do things within your control, but don't get stressed out when you can't do things outside of your control. So that's, there's some things 2026 that I'm going to get back to the basics on and start looking at, and hopefully we can initiate change and start working with these public servants that are supposed to be there to make our life better, not worse. Anyway, guys, hopefully I've inspired you to reflect back on 2025, on all the good things, all the bad things, what you can improve, what you want to take out of your life, and move forward. I'm very fortunate that I live a life of sobriety, so I don't drink or I don't smoke, so I haven't got them negative impacts. But diet and exercise are very important as well, and the small things in life. So guys, thanks for all your support. Thanks for everyone's assistance through 2025, and I'm sure 2026 is going to be bigger and better than ever. Have a good one, eh? See you, bye.